Hey everybody, Tracy Brown here. I'm so glad that you have joined me for this episode of Momentum. Let's build some momentum. Come together every Monday evening around 8 p.m. Central Time in order to just take 15 minutes or less and build a little bit of momentum for interrupting and or ending race-based hatred and violence. If you are not familiar already with the work and the question of what is mine to do, we have a Facebook group that asks the question of ourselves and each other every day. What is mine to do to interrupt and end race based hatred and violence? And the thing about this question in this context is this: it's easy for some of us to go join a movement. It's easy for others to write a big check to a large organization that is doing work to end the impact of race based hatred and violence. It is logical for us to attach ourselves to community organizations and to movements that are making a positive difference in this regard. What's often harder for most people is to interrupt the joke that a coworker tells. What's harder for most people is to have a real heart to heart conversation with someone they know from their church about how they're feeling or what they are feeling about something that is in the news related to race-based hatred and violence. What's harder for most of us is the individual personal action that we take with the people we come into contact with or the people who we engage with at work, at school, at our churches, in the grocery store, our family. And so the focus of the What Is Mine to Do Facebook group is specifically on what are individual actions we can take that can interrupt this pattern, change the consciousness, or create a higher standard. And I always take a couple of minutes to speak this because the assumption so many people have is that you can only make a contribution to ending race based hatred and violence by the big actions, by the public work. And that's just not true. Or at least I don't believe that that is the only way. So, if this happens to be your first time ever being exposed to me, Tracy Brown, then I do want to tell you that in addition to being the author of the book, Mine to Do, and the host and moderator of the Facebook group, What Is Mine to Do, both of those are specifically focused on interrupting and ending race-based hatred and violence. But I also, in my business and in the world, do a lot of work with leaders and organizations who are committed to inclusion of all kinds of people. It's just in the What Is Mine to Do work that we focus specifically on race, racism, and race relations. So, with that, what is momentum? Momentum is a weekly touch base, a time to just connect and choose one thing, one topic, one theme, one idea, one tip to inspire us this week or something to think about doing this week. So today, the idea is, if you haven't already done so, choose a personal touchstone, a personal item, or an item that personally reminds you of why you are committed to interrupting race based hatred and violence. Now, that could be, any one of a million things. And every one of us might select something different. But the idea is that you choose something that reminds you every day that you made this commitment, and that it will remind you, inspire you, maybe motivate you to not forget and to actually take action. So, what might that be? Right, there are all kinds of things, but it might be a photo of a friend who you either learned something about race and racism and race relations from, and every time you see their image, it's like, oh, yes, right. And that could be because they were an inspiring leader who fought against racism, or they may be someone you know who was hurt or harmed by racism. And when you see their image or their photo, you take a deep breath and go, oh, yeah, in honor of that person, today I'm going to have a conversation. Or in honor of that person, I am going to reach out and learn something new. So a photo is an easy thing to do. And of course, you're going to place it someplace where you see it every day. So as we think about what's a personal touchstone, also think about, where will I place that so I see it every day? Another idea that I know a few people have done, and take an article like, that you found online, or an article in a magazine that you receive at your home or office. And it may be the whole article that you tear it out and you post it to the bulletin board by your desk, or the bulletin board that you will see at work when you walk down the hallway. And you take that article, and maybe it's not the whole article. Maybe you've read the article enough and you just cut the headline out and post it where you can see it, right? And then that just seeing the headline of the article works. If you could also do this digitally, you could have the article come up as your screensaver, or an image of the book come up as your screensaver on your smartphone, or on your computer or laptop or tablet. So the book, and actually, for a while, this was a few years ago, I had the book Small Great Things by Jodi Picoult as a screensaver, because it inspired me so to remember that racism impacts everyone in a different way, and it hurts everyone in a different way. So you could have an article, a newsletter, a news headline, or an image of a book on in a place where you can see it, on your phone, on your computer, or on a board that you pass every day. Another idea, a rock, or a rock that you either find, and it's flat, and you take a permanent marker and you write a word that means something to you related to this idea of interrupting race-based hatred and violence, and you put that rock somewhere where you will see it, or maybe you have an altar where you pray or meditate every day. And if it's not one that you found and you personally put a word on it that inspires you, that motivates you, there are many that you can find in the store or online. And maybe it's peace, or maybe it is unity, and you have that rock again. The whole idea of this is choosing an item and placing it where you will see it every day as your touchstone, in order to remind you that you have made a commitment to be one of the people who interrupts race-based hatred and violence when you have the opportunity. So, two or three other examples. One, you could have a poem that you have uh, printed out or you have handwritten out and posted it on the mirror in your bathroom, or again, somewhere where you will see it. A candle on your altar that you specifically have chosen, even though it doesn't say anything about race based hatred and violence, you have chosen it to represent that to you. And every day when you light it, you recommit. My most recent totems, there are two of them. One of them, which I used for probably about 8 months, 8 or 9 months, and it's still on my desk. And so but I noticed I wasn't really seeing it every day. You know, something, right? It's in the same place all the time, and you see it and you see it and see it. And then one day it's still there, but you just kind of don't see it anymore because you've gotten used to it. And so that's my mug that has a drawing, an illustration of Ruth Bader Ginsburg, and the quote says, "When justice becomes law, resistance becomes duty." And I also have this as a T-shirt, a long sleeve T-shirt, which I wear, and um, and watch how people react and respond when they see the T-shirt. But I don't wear the T-shirt every day. But I had the mug, and I kept it and still keep it on my desk. But about a month ago, when I realized, oh, I'm not really looking at it every day. I'm seeing it at great times, but not every day. It was around the same time that I purchased a T-shirt that says, "Slavery is white history. Surviving slavery is black history. Slavery is white history. Surviving it is black history." And you would say, "Well, Tracy, it's a T-shirt. You don't see it every day." But I do, because I have put it on a hanger and I have it hanging on the door to my closet. Not because I'm planning to wear it that day, but because I want to see it every day as my touchstone, as my reminder. And I don't know how long that will last, probably another few weeks, and then I will switch it out. So, the other thing to remember about these touchstones is that they don't have to be, oh, I've got to pick something that's going to remind me for the rest of my life, right? You might have a touchstone that you choose, and that you may change it after 2 or 3 weeks, or you may change it, as I usually do, probably about every 6 months. And often it's something I already own, but I move it or I put it in a place where I will see it every day so that I am rejuvenated into this commitment. So just want to tell you how much I appreciate you jumping in for this episode of Momentum. The focus is choosing a personal touchstone and then placing it somewhere that you will see it every day. And I'm reminded that when we do this, we are refueling ourselves, and that is so important, where it's nice to have someone you can go to who will inspire you. It's nice to have touchstones alike, momentum on Monday evenings, or at some point during the week where you go back and watch the live stream, the recording of the live stream. But it's also important that we pick things that are important to us, because this is hard work and heart work. And our hearts may inspire us to do this work because we love and care about humanity and we are driven by love. It's heart work because we might be motivated by anger and the emotion of being mad about why racism continues to not only exist but flourish. But it's heart work. What is from your heart your reason for choosing to be one of the people who says, "What is mine to do? This is mine to do to interrupt race based hatred and violence." So, have a great week. I'd love to know what you chose as your touchstone. And in the meantime, every day, be ready to be an example of someone who interrupts race-based hatred and violence. My name is Tracy Brown, and I really hope that I will see you over at the What Is Mine to Do Facebook group. Have a great, great week. Bye for now.